into Quake Worlds where he almost beat Rafa, like, and he was playing unbelievably well there too. Through a couple of small mistakes here and there, you know, he could have totally taken it all the way and gone into that top 4 territory with how well he was playing. But then k1llsen comes along afterwards and is starting to kind of best him here and there in tournament and get that slight edge up on him. And Razy is one of those invited players too. So I think seeing k1llsen at Dreamhack would be quite fitting. But if Syndrome's able to take him out, then he more than deserves his spot there too, like 100%.
Well, we already did see, though, from k1llsen earlier on, these crazy plays, these crazy, like, next-level reads that he's just, you know, going that level beyond, you know, sort of just standard play. But going into champion select now, I assume out of it's going to be Sorlag out of both of them at the very least, but k1llsen we know has been running with that Anarchy and Nyx alongside it as well. Looks like from Syndrome he's gone Anarchy too, and it's going to be, yeah, the try and choose. It's going to be Nyx to finish off. Yep, indeed. This is that staple composition. It's going to be Ruins of Sarnath again, so a good map for Anarchy. Good map for, well, I think all these champions really, but Anarchy having that ability to run away, having all of that space, this is probably one of the strongest maps in the game for Anarchy to play that sort of lame defensive style.
Or hit and run, right? That really is the classic sort of like Anarchy strategy on a map like this. So while we get this map underway, just in case there's any of you guys at home that are looking at Sorlag, picked almost every game and are going, why Sorlag? You know, there are a couple of key points currently in this version of the game that make Sorlag so dangerous. The first and obvious one is that she is the tankiest champion in the game. She has the most health and armor out of any champion in the game currently. She has really good movement speed because of her bunny hop passive, or if she's bunny hopping, she'll passively accelerate. That's just part of her built-in kit, I suppose. But then her sheer damage output, that she has the highest damage output in the game as well when you combine something like Lightning Gun with her Acid Spit, where the Acid Spit does damage over time if the puddle connects. I believe it's like 50 total damage. It ticks 5 times for 10 damage. But each Acid Spit itself does 25 damage. So if you're point blank and you've got an LG and you're spitting acid everywhere, she just does a lot of good things. You know, she's very, very versatile. And I mean, ask and you shall receive, just like that. We saw all of it put into practice, and that is why everyone picks Sorlag.
That is one dead Syndrome. Less than like about 10-second frag at least. k1llsen just knew where he was, already had the lightning gun, and just went in for the kill and was able to get it quite easily.
I believe Syndrome defeated Strengths earlier in this tournament, so he's had some hard competition to get to this point.
Well, indeed, but he has hard competition again still now. It's going to be k1llsen, and this is one of those qualification games, and k1llsen is going to go for the kill again. Oh, wow, the melting acid with the lightning gun. You were just talking about that and how quickly your health can disappear, and that's exactly what you were referring to.
I mean, k1llsen hasn't had to leave this area. He spent the entire round just surrounded near sort of LG territory, near heavy, and that's been where his home it has been, but the Ghost Walk, it does mean that Syndrome is out of danger for the time being, but I mean, look at how weak he is now, and with the Mega down for as long as it is, he just needs a couple more hits and he's dead!
Oh, is Syndrome alive? He must be on like 1 health. k1llsen just ever so slightly dropping the kill. Wow, Syndrome is still alive. He must be on like 1 health. Gets one small pack.
He's going to be on 20. He's going to be on 25 now, but that is not enough to survive what's coming.
Oh, no! Oh, it wasn't up in time, and that's going to be an easy round 1 for k1llsen. Wow, that was just immediate.
If you put yourself at Sorlag's effective range, when Sorlag has Acid Spit and an LG. I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it again.
It's not really, it wasn't really Syndrome putting himself at that range. It was going around the corner, and k1llsen was like...
It was k1llsen making sure he was at that range, but there's the immediate adaptation. So it was the same spawn, it was the same start, but instead of Syndrome going in for LG, I think he kind of banked that k1llsen was there, so he just went for heavy instead. Like, he instantly made that retreat. He didn't want to make the same mistake twice.
Heavy already gone, swapping to the LG. The acid doesn't quite connect. Syndrome is in trouble here, but k1llsen's going down too. Ever so slightly winning the 1v1 and the mega health as his reward. k1llsen takes the first frag again, back to back.
If that was anything but a Sorlag mirror, they would have traded that too because the acid tick. But Sorlag does not take tick damage from another Sorlag's acid.
That's what makes it such an interesting mirror.
Oh, the missed rail.
Oh no, he's going to get chased here.
I wonder. Just in case, that's going to keep Syndrome at arm's reach temporarily, but acid's going to be down for a while.
Oh wow, he fell down. It's going to be a free mega health for k1llsen most likely. Yeah, there it is. Armor coming through too. Looking good for k1llsen, only a minute in.
He just lands on him. Hyper-aggressive. Syndrome has to really try and fight back here. The injection has been popped, but minimal armor. Very vulnerable to rails.
Just forcing Syndrome away from every big pickup in this entire game so far. He just isn't letting him pick any of the health or armor up.
Keep him behind. If you've got the champion advantage, just keep him behind. No frags required. Oh, and he doesn't even need... That is the fact that he didn't even need the acid spit in that situation. Actually gets a good read on the spawn too, but misses the rail by a hair's length.
Going for it again. Rail doesn't connect. A little bit of acid. Did it hit the mark? No, ghost walked just to make it a void. Still though, k1llsen, he would have seen that ghost walk on his death cam. He's gonna know she doesn't have it. Oh no, did he get a little bit too ahead of himself here?
The Syndrome chase.
Sure, no.
No, he doesn't.
Like he does.
Maybe he didn't want to take the risk of following him through the teleporter. I mean, that's one gauntlet and you were dead.
Have to be careful for sure. Mega health coming up again. k1llsen's gonna secure it. k1llsen takes this frag. He's gonna win this first round, or the second round, I should say. Bring himself one step closer to that first map. Oh wow, is he gonna do this?
Yep.
Yes, he will. Wow, again. k1llsen is just winning, just 1v1 after 1v1. I don't know if Syndrome is just able to keep up in these exchanges.
What I love about Ruins of Sarnath is that it's a map that can go either way. You know, it's either going to be really slow or it's going to be hyper fast. And so far, k1llsen is giving us one of the fastest maps we've seen so far today in this Dreamhack Championship.
Or go from one to the other. We've seen it be quite a dynamic map in that respect. Still though, a lot of nails coming through into acid too. Oh, the missed rail is going to be guaranteed damage. Syndrome, I don't think Syndrome has the weaponry to do it. I think he probably only had a rail. There's no way he would have stuck to the rail for that long if he had anything else to go to.
Well, I mean, if k1llsen's hot off the spawn with an LG, that means Syndrome didn't have one. What can he answer back with? It's been the same spawn pretty much every time. k1llsen has just known what to do with it. Spawning so close to the LG, very favorable. He's trying to fight back.
Oh, a lot of damage coming through, and there we go. Syndrome's going to be able to take out k1llsen's Sorlag quite quickly. Is relatively low on health and armor. Wait to get the heavy? Yes, he does.
I think k1llsen definitely knew he was going to die there, right? So he might have just realized, well, if I can get a good rocket or two, maybe trade. Syndrome with the turnaround, but he's still very weak. Trying to actually do what was done just to him. But the injection allows him to get away this time, but... Here we go again, heads him off. Oh, k1llsen again with the frag. His LG has just been a bit more...
k1llsen knowing that Syndrome was likely to go towards armor, and that was the nearest armor to him. Syndrome going towards it, and k1llsen just being that one step ahead, I think. Just going for it, just trying to get out of the way. Yes, he is. That's a machine gun, or was that a nail gun? I'm not quite sure. Regardless, the lightning gun will win, and that's going to be the first map already. Immediately, k1llsen is going to take that map quite simply.
I'm fairly certain that was our fastest map of the day. I mean, it was just snowball. It was a snowball effect where those 3 rounds where they both went Sorlag, k1llsen spawned near LG and Spit that early on when your opponent hasn't really got anything else. That kind of start is perfect for you. Because if you're spawning in your Sorlag and you've got your acid spit ready and you've got full health, you've got, you know, pretty much full armor, and then you've got an LG and he spawns near rail. We saw that in the 3rd round where Syndrome had, all he had access to was start a machine gun and rail, and that was it. So he had to bank on hitting those point-blank rails against a Sorlag that's just dodging left and right and spraying you with LG. That is a miserable situation to be in, but k1llsen knew how to lay the pressure on, and he just chokeholded the entire round for all 3 rounds. Like, he did not give Syndrome room to breathe and get anything going whatsoever.
It was just pick up control. Like, he respawned right at the start near the lightning gun. I was like, okay, right, if I've got the lightning gun, he won't have it. So if I force this fight point blank, I will have the best 1v1 weapon here in most of these ranges. At least that's what he was getting the better of, right? He was winning those lightning gun duels over and over again. But if he had the lightning gun and Syndrome didn't, Syndrome just couldn't really fight back. He didn't have the right equipment for the time. And even then, when he survived the fights with like very little health, very little armor, k1llsen was making the read on what the nearest armor pickup was and was going straight there ready for him. And it paid off time after time. And k1llsen very comfortably taking that first map.
Now, the thing is, k1llsen's known for his rail. We didn't really see him need rail at any point in that map.
But he won't get one here. Corrupted Keep is going to be the second
I was just
map.
about to point that out. I mean, so the next map is going to be Corrupted Keep. I think the style that k1llsen has been taking on board for this series, Corrupted Keep will almost like exaggerate that play style. But on the flip side, Syndrome played the exact mirror composition. It's unlikely he's going to try something different. He's probably going to do the exact same thing back to k1llsen. It's going to come down to how good is your start going to be. If they pick the same champions and now they're on Corrupted Keep, whoever gets a better start is going to be in a better situation, and we'll see who can recover better from said situation when we get into what could be a final map. Sorlag first, not surprised there.
I mean,
Anarchy again.
We might see Syndrome try something different because, I mean, unfortunately, there just wasn't really any points.
Nope.
Same. There just wasn't really any points in that first map that it looked like Syndrome was in control. And I mean, maybe just a question of this, that there isn't really... He might not have an answer to this composition aside from using the composition himself, right? Because most of the players we've got today are using this exact same 3-champion lineup. It seems to be the strongest right now. People are using it because of that. And that makes sense, right? You're playing for serious amounts of money. You want to play to win. It's about how you use that composition better than your opponents, who you know are basically going to be bringing the same thing to the table.
So to remind everybody at home, this is a qualification match. If k1llsen wins this, what could be final map, he's moving on to Dreamhack Denver for another shot in the States. You know, like he did very well at QuakeCon in the duel, but I don't think as well as he wanted to do. And he had a ridiculous, I believe it was actually against Vu. He had a ridiculously close series against Vu, and it was actually my personal favorite series of that entire tournament. It was down to the absolute wire, and I'll never forget it. But he wants another shot. And a lot of his competition that he's been able to best recently are guaranteed to be at Dreamhack via invitation. So if he gets there now as a qualifier, he is going to be riding a ton of momentum. But here we go. Corrupted Keith, the same team comp. Will it be just as much of a good start for k1llsen? And he started near an LG, and history is repeating itself right now.
He's forced in the fight. He's not letting Syndrom move around. He just needs to win the 1v1, and he will get it quite easily again. k1llsen is just besting Syndrom every time.
And it's coming down to a start. Oh my days! I mean, see you later, alligator.
That was just... I mean, you know the Melting Man from RoboCop?
I was just about to make that same reference. I don't know why we think alike. It's almost like we're twins or something. But no, he flies into another LG, forced to use the Ghost Walk. That is unbelievably unfortunate.
I mean, but at least the Ghost Walk was there, right? At least you had that answer to escape. If Syndrom didn't have the Ghost Walk, he would have been dead meat for sure, and this would be less than a 60-second round.
I actually think Syndrom may have done a bit of self-damage with that rocket right there.
So too, and that's going to be another round. k1llsen dominating right now.
He's on the verge of making this the fastest series we've seen all day. Playing like a man possessed.
Possessed with the will to want to make Dreamhack.
I mean, Syndrom needs to get around on the board here. He needs to stop this momentum. If he doesn't stop momentum in the second round, and we see a second round go
straight for LG, that is the thing k1llsen's going for. Every time, he wants to get the LG, and then he is just rushing Syndrom when he knows he hasn't got one. Like in this situation, the rocket's there. He hasn't got an LG, he hasn't got a rocket. If he can force a fight now, he'll be in a better situation. And again, the lightning gun's there. He's going to know that Syndrom doesn't have a lot of weapons right now.
If k1llsen dominantly takes this second round, I'm willing to say that this will be a wrap. Because it just looks like Syndrom's having such a hard time to take this snowball effect away from k1llsen. He's off to a great start here, and he gets Mega. A great start. He's got rid of the Sorlag. Now, he's got an LG, a nice amount of health. Heavy armor soon to follow.
He also picked up the Mega health, I should say, to do it, but still quite low. Is k1llsen going to chase this here?
This is still a better situation than he has been before, so he can not exactly rest easy, but he's done the hard bit, which is getting that Sorlag out of k1llsen.
I mean, the Sorlag really was the crux of kind of like that non-stop momentum he had.
Oh no!
But no, he loses his Sorlag.
Great dodging, actually. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Got hit by a bit of the ticking damage, but not punished too heavily, and he caught Syndrom on the spawn. All he has is an LG.
The armor 2, this is bad for Syndrom. k1llsen is now fully stacked. He has a rocket launcher, but the OG is working out. Syndrom very low now. Has to be very careful. Oh, close. Is he got injection? No, he gets sent off the map. Nice. Goodbye, and k1llsen is now one frag away. The lone Nyx from Syndrom must take down k1llsen's Anarchy and his Nyx.
k1llsen forces, if he forces that Ghost Walk out super early, Syndrom is and right here he's in a world of hurt. If k1llsen gets a good read, it guarantees the Mega 2. There's nothing Syndrom can do to stop that. He's got heavy, but just with low health. Wow. What can he do? Nothing at all. It's going to be match point for k1llsen in record time today.
I mean, Syndrom, he's trying his best to get himself stacked up, but he was like a second late to that heavy armor. And that 1 second he was there too early is all that k1llsen needed to take him down.
I was convinced he was actually going to take the heavy there because he was so adamant.
I mean, k1llsen is just starving him of weapons at this point. It's not even, if not even anything else, it's basically just the weapons at this point. Syndrom doesn't have the equipment to fight, and k1llsen is forcing him to fight. But now, k1llsen only has a nail gun, and Syndrom has the LG.
Yeah, but at this range, the LG won't do anything.
Still, though, it's bad for him. He's trying to zone off. He has a rocket launcher here. So looks like Syndrom has a rocket launcher and an LG, so Syndrom kind of has the better thing here. Looks like k1llsen's trying to get himself an LG. Yes, he does. He's now fully equipped for it. Now it's just that 1v1.
Oh, k1llsen's LG was just next level in that fight. Syndrom was in so much trouble. Forced away. He's likely to get heavy armor, but look at the health. That's not really much at all, even with a third chunk.
Oh, Again, Syndrom looking for health, and k1llsen is just, he knows where he's going to try and stack himself back.
Oh no!
Taken down again, Syndrom loses that first champion, gets a little bit of damage on the spawn, it's going to be Anarchy.
But what's going to be difficult is that k1llsen saves the Acid Spit for the Anarchy. He was confident he didn't need it to fight the Sorlag, and now if he catches Anarchy or Nyx point blank, either one of them will get insta-killed by the point blank Acid. But it's going to be down.
Mega health there. k1llsen, oh wow, that was dangerous. You see Syndrom trying to zone him away from it with the nails, but didn't quite do enough damage.
I think k1llsen would take that trade-off happily.
Still though, Syndrom was able to get hold of the heavy armor, which is better than nothing. But k1llsen's trying to chase him, but cannot run too fast. Goes straight into some nails. Oh, Syndrom forces the fight, but he doesn't grab the health, he's gonna win it. Oh, barely loses it to k1llsen, left with a 6 health. And it's now one champion away from winning this series in, just like you said, record time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the triple backflip.
I mean, those LG fights where one tick of LG is what is the decider between life and death, that's the best one to win and the worst one to lose. Paul with an LG. He has armor, but hasn't got an LG for himself yet.
So Syndrom wants to fight. You can see Syndrom really wants to take some damage down here, but problem is k1llsen is just getting the better of him in these 1v1s. That's all it's boiling down to.
The problem is it's been 5 rounds straight. Like, it's been so dominant for k1llsen. If he gets the Nyx, only has to deal with the Anarchy.
It was a great fight for Syndrom, though. He got more damage on k1llsen.
But not enough to get the frag. Not enough for the frag, but I feel like in this situation, you need the frag. Just allowed k1llsen to restack, and now he's healthy again.
Still, less than 2.5 minutes into the round. Still plenty of time for him to get this comeback. Take out this Nyx from k1llsen. He is stacked up a little bit on armor. Unfortunately, not too much health, but does have quite a lot of resources to manage here. He does have a rocket launcher and LG. Oh, wow. Just goes under the feet, I think.
Yeah, no direct. He was temporarily airborne. The counter Ghost Walk as well to deny any surprise attack from k1llsen right there.
That's just treading out Ghost Walk for Ghost Walk there. Neither player wanting to commit too hard to it. I will say though, like k1llsen doesn't seem to be quite as willing to just ram in and go full aggression when he hasn't got Sorlag. I think having that health and armor. Oh wow, that was such a great frag though. Just catching him off guard, catching him out of position, and a swift 2 rockets is all he needs for 2 swift maps taken down. And k1llsen is going to be moving on to Dreamhack.
I was just about to talk about how he slowed the pace down in that final round because he had champion advantage. I was like, is he going to try and play this one down to a timeout? But, I mean, just in the blink of an eye, just turn around 1 second, bam, rocket to the face, dead, guaranteed for Dreamhack.
He just recognized that when Syndrom didn't have Ghost Walk, he was like, right, he's in a bad position here. I've got rocket, I've got the height advantage. If this one lands, I win. And that's what happened. You know, Syndrom did very well to get this far. Like I said, he had to take down some tough competition to get up to this point. But k1llsen, I mean, he is playing like a man possessed and has been doing for a few weeks now across various, you know, 125 FPS, Community Challenger Cups, and now here in the Dreamhack qualifiers, where they're playing for $35,000 in a prize pot for duel at Dreamhack in Denver. I mean, now he finds himself there. He gets one step closer to a chunk of that prize money.
Well, don't forget, this was winner's bracket, so Syndrom is not out of this tournament. He still actually has a chance to qualify for Dreamhack, but it has to be done through the lower bracket or the loser's bracket, if you're more familiar with that name instead. It essentially means that your comfort zone is gone, and this will be your last chance. k1llsen, on the other hand, is going to be laughing. He's going to be happily moving on into Dreamhack. And to be honest, if I was on the receiving end of k1llsen in Quake, I would be worried now, because he is playing so well. Like, the transition of him going from QuakeCon to now, in a very small turnaround, a very small amount of time.
Like what? 3-4 weeks, if that.
Basically a month or so.
Yeah, if that.
But the difference in skill and how much k1llsen has leveled up in this game has been substantial. And he's been playing better now in Quake Champions than he ever has done before. And now he's just qualified for a major tournament against the best players in the world. It's a great situation for him to almost like redeem himself from a result that I know he